AITA for leaving my niece an inheritance but not my nephew? Throwaway because my bill is on Reddit. I was diagnosed with a terminal illness a few months ago. It's not a matter of if, but when. And the best estimate is that I have in the neighborhood of 1 to 2 years. I'm dealing with it. I've had a good life and no regrets. Part of dealing with it is getting my affairs in order before I leave the stage. My sister has 2 children, 13F and 5 meters. The 13-yo is from her previous relationship. The 5-yo from her current husband. My niece's father skipped out on them and my sister had a rough time of it. So I helped them out early on. Her husband is well off so they're set now. But it's become very obvious to me over the years that he wishes my niece weren't in their lives. They don't exactly neglect her. But she's left out of a lot and it's very obvious even to our parents that my nephew is heavily favored. I've talked to my sister about it at various points. But she's in denial and I don't think would ever have the courage to stand up to her husband. I've tried to make it up to my niece in quiet ways. But I know it still hurts and I worry about her. I made some very fortunate business moves early on and I'm now sitting on a large chunk of change. And a retirement fund that I will not live to use. My sister has made no plans for my niece's college or anything else. But the girl is incredibly smart and hardworking in school and she deserves a chance to make the most of herself. It's my intention to have everything put in trust for her after my death. Managed by my executor until she's 25 so that her parents can't touch it. She can have money for school. And some time to mature before being fully in control. My nephew already has a trust fund from his father. So he doesn't need the money. Ironically, this would put her in a better financial position than the rest of the family. But I think that's justice at this point considering how much she's put up with and missed out on. I sat down with my parents and sister to lay out my plans and end-of-life wishes. And my sister is deeply offended that I'm excluding her and my nephew. She thinks I should leave the money to her to split between them or set up equal trusts for the kids. My father loathes Bill and said he agrees with me not letting him or my sister near the trust. But I could leave my nephew something to save face. My mother is too distraught to have an opinion right now. Bill made a joke later about contesting the will. And my sister isn't speaking to me. I feel like I have more responsibility to look after my niece since no one else is. While her brother will be okay. I love my nephew, too, though. And don't want him to feel bad when he's older. I've planned to leave him some non-monetary items. AITA? Bill made a joke later about contesting the will. I would flip out if anyone did that to me. It's even worse if I was an estimated 1 to 2 years left. NTA. But I would see a lawyer. I've heard too many times where people mentioned leaving the other person a nominal amount of $5,000. So that they can't contest the will. Granted, my expertise is coming from Better Call Saul and a few other shows, but I'd still check. NTA. The fact your bill is already talking about contesting the will when you haven't even passed yet is a serious red flag. Leave everything to your niece and make sure her parents can't touch any of it. NTA. Bill can contest the will all he wants. If you've laid it all out within legal bounds, he has nothing to stand on. You should consult with a lawyer if you have concerns, but you are definitely not an asshole here. You don't owe anyone anything. NTA at all, but agree with your father. Maybe leaving a token something so your nephew isn't left feeling the way your niece does. That you didn't value him at all. But agree that the majority is left to your niece to ensure she gets the same leg up as your nephew. I'd make sure that you have it locked right, that there can be no contest and they should think long. and hard about it if they want any sort of relationship with her daughter. I'd also leave a letter for your nephew explaining your rationale that he can read as an adult. It's your money and you leave how you see fit. NTA. You're a great uncle. You will change her life and give her a super boost of feeling very loved from by considering her. In this way, it's your money. Do exactly as you want with it and don't let anyone sway you. Sorry to hear about your diagnosis, but glad you feel like you had a great life. NTA. I like how you said you will leave him something though. If Bill has a problem, tell him if he wants you to provide equally, so does he. Sorry you have such a bad prognosis. Other option is to tell him you're going spend it enjoying what time you have and donate the rest. NTA. She thinks I should leave the money to her to split between them. Yeah, right. We all know how that would end given her lack of a spine. Her husband would make her give the most, if not all, of it to their son. NTA. There is no way it would be split and she knows it. Ignore her husband. I'm so sorry you are going through this. You are doing the right thing for your niece. NTA. But I think you should listen to your father. Your 5-year-old nephew didn't do anything wrong, and once you are gone, there's every reason to believe that your sister and Bill will twist things to make him feel resentful. I would leave him a small share, also in trust, along with a letter for him to read when he's older explaining that you made the choice you did to protect your niece, not to hurt him. I would also include a line saying that you love both of them very much, and since you know that he loves his sister too, you have faith that he will understand this. I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. NTA. Niece needs someone in her corner. And her mom and stepfather obviously are not. Plus, this money would be safe in a trust and used for her education, which her mother and stepfather seem to have no interest in funding. You wanna bet that they got one for nephew? NTA. But talk to your estate planner about leaving a token amount of inheritance for sister and nephew. That might prevent sister from contesting the will. I think you also need to address what happens to the trust if something happens to niece. Also write a letter to niece about why you divided things up this way. NTA. Just please tell them why. Leave letters for the kids. Your niece probably feels very alone. And I promise you that it'll mean a lot to her to know that someone recognized how she's being treated. I've never understood leaving money to people who don't need it when there's always someone for whom it could change their lives. NTA. Since Bill made a joke about contesting the will, make sure to leave something to each of them in the will. It doesn't need to be monetary. Something small but indicates that you didn't forget anyone. You can probably explain things in your will as well. I would get a lawyer as well to make sure it's rock solid. NTA. But talk to a lawyer to make your stuff ironclad. I think you are an angel trying to set up this girl to have a better life. NTA. But this is dangerous. You said your niece is already somewhat left out, and I'm afraid after this, I think your Bill might make things worse. I don't like the joke he made. You should try to tell your sister privately how you think your niece is being unfairly treated now. NTA. Don't forget the codicil that any attempt to contest forfeits anyone else from benefiting. May peace be unto you. NTA. It's your money to do as you wish with. If you don't have a will already, get one created. Otherwise, your next of kin, parents or siblings, will inherit your estate by default and are not legally bound to follow any intentions you may have mentioned to them. And if you care about your legacy, You might want to write a letter addressed to your nephew just explaining your reasoning so that he doesn't come away with the impression that you didn't care about him. NTA. Leave the money to whom you want. As for contesting the will, leave your sister and nephew something so they can't contest. Leave your sister $1 and leave your nephew something sentimental. It's not his fault his parents are like this. Bill made a joke later about contesting the will. And my sister isn't speaking to me. Here's the part where you know for certain that you've made the correct choice. NTA. That was no joke.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.